the broadcast as well. Like it, share it, invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, your frenemies. Tell them that Mayegun today, and then sit back, relax, while I unpack the entire package for tonight. So we are starting with these sad stories, which has received near zero reportage in Nigeria media, unfortunately. The first is the killings reported in Kauru, local government area of Kaduna. In the last 4 days, people from this following, I want to bring them up, right? People from this following communities, families from these communities like Lakada, Kakure, Kadi, Fadanruruma, and denser areas of Kauru local government area of Kaduna State. They have been under the barrage of the Fulani terrorists who have laid siege to these communities and ransacked them. Not only that they have killed 9 people confirmed, currently they have also kidnapped 17 people have been kidnapped and taken away. Their whereabouts is unknown, and these communities, they have become desolate. I actually tried to look at the area up in the, in the Google Earth, my usual way of trying to check out what it is like. How is it so convenient for terrorists in this part of Nigeria to succeed in ransacking communities and without what you can call, help from the security agency? So this is what I found. This is what the Kauru local government area actually looks like. All right. And if you place the topography of the area, so to say, so the densely populated parts, and then the other communities who are like at the fringes, like at the fringe of the local government, right? So easy come, easy go, and the other areas are pretty much like, and most of them ungoverned, unmanned. So these people, you see, this is why it is kind of like easier, if you want to put it that way. Nigerian security agents or the Nigerian government, they have done so well. We have to give it to them, especially under this Tifnumbu. They have done so well enough, right, to make sure that the news like this, they do not make it to the general public, talk less of the international community. But the level of insecurity under this Tifnumbu's regime is so like alarming. Just a week or 2 ago, the Kaduna State governor celebrated the it wasn't even surrendering, right? It was like celebrated the repentant terrorists of his own state. The terrorists who have kidnapped, who have raped, who have killed, hundreds and thousands of people within that Kaduna State. Suddenly, they said that they swore by the Holy Quran that they won't do it again. And therefore, they received the government amnesty. Meanwhile, this is just a smoke screen, like a smoke and mirror, right? It is just to cover up other things, whereby if you report any act of terrorism in Kaduna State, you will be tagged an alarmist. Because the impression they want to give is to say everything is fine. It may not be as horrible as it was under El Rufaya. But others will tell you that, well, it is the same. The difference is that lesser and lesser people are interested in reporting what is going on in this part of Nigeria. And they may be right. But somehow, when this Tifnumbu's illegitimate government came in, they instructed the media houses that they should not report anything that has to do with the atrocities of the Fulani terrorists, Boko Haram terrorists, and other terrorists operating in that contraption. According to them, this kind of onslaught on their media started all the way back from Boko Haram's time, but specifically under this Tifnumbu, they were told that their reportage is demoralizing the soldiers, and therefore, right, they shouldn't report about all this. So that simply means that the people who have become victims and those that will still become victims of terrorism in Nigeria, right, they are on their own. Because if you dare go out to say, oh, here we are victims of Fulani terrorism, or victims of Lakurawa, or victims of Boko Haram, the system has been sort of rigged enough to kind of like treat you with disbelief. And if you insist, you will be treated as an alarmist, and you may even be arrested or silently killed by them as well. Same thing happened before I even get to Ebonyi. So I think it was 2 or 3 days ago when one Machala Bugaje, one of the alleged most wanted but most notorious terrorists, Fulani terrorists from this northern part of Nigeria, recorded a video of himself and his fellow terrorists and published it on social media that is also embracing amnesty. And he was willing, as part of the deal, to release at least 50 Nigerians that he has, that are in his captivity, that were kidnapped by him. He's not releasing all of the victims, though. He's releasing 50 as a bargaining chip. So I don't know if they've taken him up on his offer or not. But when you hear the word Fulani terrorists and how the terrorists actually operate, sometimes it's just going to sound more or less like, it's going to sound to you like a fiction. Because sometimes you can't imagine that, is there any security sort of a system in that country that terrorists have become so established? They have become so established that if you cross their territory, you are gone. Nigeria won't come and look for you. And if you come back alive, well, maybe you still probably have some purpose, or what have you left on earth. It is a trip or a territory. Their territories are more or less like territories of possible no return. They live like kings. They worship. They organize a community sort of address about areas where they have conquered. Nigerian government gazetted those areas in their own book. They call them ungoverned areas. Areas that the terrorists have more or less like declared independence from Nigeria. So this Machala Bugaje guy was seen 2 days ago. No, Monday. Okay, it was on Friday, probably 3 days ago, right? He hasn't been apprehended. We haven't seen this handover of Nigerians he kidnapped, but he is still there with all his weapons and his fighters and what have you. And guess what? They were having Friday Jumat prayer. I can't even have the video. So I'll show you this. This is just so you know what it looks like. The life of the terrorists in Nigeria. How they are not hiding. That's another thing. The military may be giving you the impression that they are bombing these parts, or they are shooting them in this side, just to kind of like oil their own propaganda machine, because they are also running PR now. Nigerian soldiers, Nigerian army, running PR online to make them act or appear like they were actually capable of protecting you, but they are not. Machala and his other terrorist gang, just about 3 days ago. If you ask them, what exactly are these guys fighting for? But they are terrorists. On the one hand, they will tell you that they are fighting for an Islamic state, which means Nigeria must become an Islamic state. And slowly but surely, Nigeria will become an Islamic state. So in their effort of turning Nigeria to Islamic state, they turned on innocent people, ransacking villages, slaughtering and butchering people, innocent people, then kidnapped as many of them as they want. And in all of this, Nigeria has no plan of protecting our citizens. No plan. Very unfortunate. So similarly, just yesterday, right, in a community called, I want to kind of like get the name right. It's called Amegu, Nkalaha community of Ishielu local government area of Ebonyi state, where the Fulani terrorists again laid siege. And their own story is a little bit kind of like extra, because the surviving, or let me say the survivors from the attacks in this community last night, they have been aware of the gathering of these Fulani terrorists around their community. The young people in this area, even the elderly in the area, they put together, and in an effort of trying to kind of like chase away these murderous terrorists from their communities, they said Nigerian army came to the rescue of this would-be terrorists by scaring off the people of this community from, they said they shouldn't start any communal war. That's what they called it. Meanwhile, they have been suspecting these terrorists, the Fulani terrorists within their, around their border. So yesterday, from early in the morning, right, the terrorists, they struck. And from the reports, they have already killed 16 people. You with me? 16 innocent people have been slaughtered by this invading Fulani terrorist. Yeah, their state governor, Umfurumu, whatever his name is called, has come out to say, now that the deed is done, okay, he came out there to say they are going to find the perpetrators. But guess what? Hundreds of people have had to run away from their community, from their homes. Those who could carry pots, carry stove, a little food, and they have now become refugees in the neighboring community in Ebonyi State, in eastern part of Nigeria. This was last night. So same way, where is my Google app? Just one sec, okay? Amegu, Nkalaha, that's the name of the community. I want to put it on and show you. And the, what do you call it? The local government area is called Ishielu, local government area of Ebonyi State. I remember during the Devulumayi time as the governor of Ebonyi, right? It was this kind of killings as well that took place. And Devulumayi, who was on hand, give me a second, let me put this. All right, I think the whole thing was like a bit acting up, okay? So sorry about that. It should be fine after this. Now, this is what my Google app shows me about this community as well. And here, one sec. So similarly, right, it is not a very massive local government area if you put it right. However, let me see if I can have the 3D street view for it, so that that will give us a bit of topography. Like that means the area, what the area seems like, you know. So again, it is to take advantage of it does help, right? So because the moment they strike and attack like that, right? So they can easily just jump back into the forest. So in this community, they have killed, this be recorded, they have killed 16 innocent people. Again, this Fulani terrorist. Now, it's not making it right to what do you call it, to their main media, surely, because the agenda is to make so that if Numbu and his gang won't look bad, you know, they won't look bad. And until people become victims, which I actually do not really wish on, even the worst of your enemies, if you can imagine having enemies, right? The level of the terrorism that people have been subjected to, and then the expected, I don't even know if people expect that anyway, but the expected protection from your own government, which is totally missing, it makes the matter worse. Kind of like people are just sitting duck, waiting to become victims. So any efforts, according to the people from that community, they said they did make efforts, made move to prevent this kind of attacks. But the Nigerian army, the military, came to their communities, took away their weapons, for those who had weapons, and then warned them seriously to not trigger any form of what they call it, like tribal clash. So the other part of their media that is, they actually reported it as herdsmen versus the people of this community. And my question is this: if the clash, as they usually love to describe it, right? The clash was between the herdsmen and these communities. How come that herdsmen that were supposed to have come from, like where? From